Hello and welcome to the Vaults of Terra. My name is Ed and today we're going to be continuing with our Space Marines chapters videos with a look at the Black Dragons. Now the Black Dragons have been requested very much on the forums and in the comments on previous videos, so we'll go ahead and have a look at the lore that we have on the Black Dragons. Now we do know that they are a 21st founding chapter, which means they were part of the cursed 21st founding, from which came many chapters whose luck in the centuries after their founding was so foul that most of those chapters are now almost completely extinct or have become either traitors or have been completely ostracized by the Imperium itself. Now the original founding chapter of the Black Dragons is actually unknown, although a lot of sources point towards the salamanders because of their symbology. However, we don't really know if that's the truth at this stage. Now we do know they're a fleet-based chapter, but we do not know what name of their ships are or if they even have a chapter master. We don't know their name either. However, we do know their battle cry, of course, and their battle cry is fire and bone. The background for the Black Dragons is mainly tied up in their curse, because of course they're part of the cursed 21st founding. Now their curse was a gene seed mutation. Now not many people in the Imperium know this, but the 21st founding was designed to try and remove some of the genetic flaws that had crept into the Space Marine chapters that already existed in the Imperium. Unfortunately, this tinkering with the sacred genetic code of the Space Marine meant that they did lead to some rather nasty changes happening to the Space Marines who received them. Now the most obvious of which was the Black Dragons, because their os modular, which is the special organ in the Space Marine's body which regulates the massive bone growth that they have, mutated and produced bony crests on their heads and blades on the forearm and at their elbows, which has made them look very peculiar from a human standpoint, having almost a scaly countenance on their faces and having quite obvious blades protruding from their arms. Now this mutation is not very regular, and it can mean that some Space Marines are almost completely pure. They have no bone crests, they have no blades, whereas others are completely and utterly changed by it, still human in form, but being massively changed. The ones that are most obviously changed, with the blades coming from their arms, are formed into their own unit known as the Dragon Claws. What they do is they sheathe their arm claws in adamantine, the incredibly strong metal of the Imperium, and use their arm blades as deadly close combat weapons, causing incredible amounts of damage to the enemy and leading to some furious rumours cropping up around this Space Marine organisation, many of which focused on the negative of seeing gigantic superhumans ripping apart enemies with their own clawy protrusions. Now one thing to note is the forearm blades of most of these Black Dragons can actually be retracted into the claw's arm, then extended at will. This suggests more than a mere random mutation to myself and many others. It suggests that there was a possible aim to create this mutation during the 21st founding, but it led to such rampant and obvious mutation that it was abandoned and the Black Dragons were left as they are. Now the most extreme mutations cause rampant growth in the Marine's skeleton. Now this causes some Dragon Claws to stand more than 3 meters tall. That's nearly a meter taller than the usual Space Marine. This means that they have to wear custom power armor to fit them, because even the power armor of a normal Space Marine will not fit a Marine that has grown to over 3 meters tall, and of course his other proportions will have grown along with his size. Now there are rumours that the Black Dragon apothecaries actually deliberately encourage these growths. Such gene tampering is both illegal and heresy since the time of the Great Crusade, when Fabius Bile, the chief apothecary of the Emperor's children, did tamper with the gene seed of Space Marines, causing incredible mutations, some of which might be seen as quite similar to that of the Black Dragons, although of course no line can be drawn in the official lore. Now, many in the Inquisition, because of the mutations of the Black Dragons, doubt the loyalty of this chapter, along with several other chapters who refuse to fight alongside them, which include the Dark Angels and the Marines Malevolent, who are notoriously Puritan in their views. This does mean that their intervention in a conflict can be quite dicey and might lead to even more internal conflict as opposed to external conflict. However, their record for almost exemplary conduct does speak for itself. One thing to note about Space Marines is that their gene seed is usually tithed to the Imperium so that it can be tested for any flaw. The usual tithe is about 5% of the gene seed, and of course the Black Dragons usually do resist giving over because there is a lot of suspicion about their genetics, and they actually need to be threatened with military action in order to comply many times. However, the gene seed that they do send in is usually very, very pure, so it's unknown exactly how they have managed to obtain this pure gene seed, despite the fact that they have quite obvious obviously mutated in several ways. Now, there is some who believe that the gene seed that they send in is not that of the black dragons. In fact, it might be some that has been procured from somewhere else. Maybe some other chapters might have given it to them, or it could have been stolen, in fact. Although, again, this is all rumour. We don't know that much about the black dragons to know exactly what their motives are, although we do know they prefer to leave the genetic tampering of others out of their own system. Now, other than the dragon claws, the black dragons are a complete codex chapter with black and white / bone coloured armour, which is similar to that of the Black Templars, although the bony ridges on their armour will definitely distinguish the two. Their record, as I said, is exemplary, and there's little to believe they are traitors to the Imperium, but unfortunately, because of their mutation and the obvious bigotry that's rife within the Imperium itself, there's an unfortunate lack of requests for the Black Dragon's help in the arenas of the 41st millennium. Now, that's everything I have on the Black Dragons at the moment. Now, there is a book about the Black Dragons from the Space Marine Battles series, which is quite interesting. I do encourage you to read it. However, I won't be going into that because I don't obviously want to spoil it for you all. Again, I'm still not sponsored by the Black Library. But other than that, there's not much around the Black Dragons, so I do encourage you, if you have heard anything else, do put it in the comments below, or go to the Vox Relay, which is the Vaults of Terra forums, which will be linked in the description box below, to try and expand our knowledge of the Black Dragons. If you've heard anything, any rumours, anything that you want to share with us, do let us know. Now, that's everything I wanted to mention in the videos this week. We will resume with another chapter video next time, which will either be the Lamenters, which are the descendants of the Blood Angels, or the Carcharodons, or Space Sharks. So if you are interested in seeing one of those two chapters next time, do vote in the comments below or on the Vox Relay. And if you do have anything else to say, don't hesitate to leave a comment or send me a personal message. So that's everything we have to say today. See you next time on the Vaults of Terra.